Now, the trade unions in the public service unions, consisting of SAPU, NEHAWU, NUPSAW, Popcru, PSA, HOSPERSA and DENOSA, will be convening mass pickets today. The demonstrations come as a result of the collapsed public service wage negotiations. Let's get an update now. I'm joined by Popcru spokesperson Richard Mamabolo. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. You've reached an impasse when it comes to wage negotiations. I mean, looking at how things are going right now, what is expected to happen next?
We are actually having a process where there's a conciliation process. We are currently at the DSTV in Centurion with different members from all federations. What this conciliation is aimed at doing is to try and find a common path between the employer and labor. You have to remember that the initial wage negotiations collapsed on the 3rd of October when majority of unions did not sign the agreement, the 3% agreement, and therefore it meant that there should be this process. Now, we are hoping that between today and tomorrow, there could be some form of common understanding around where we need to go, because from the 3rd of October, government withdrew that 3% offer, and we actually went to our initial offer, which is 10%, demand of 10%. So today's process is aimed at trying to find a solution and finding a common way around that.
With that initial demand of 10%, we know that Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana penciled in a 3% increase for public sector wages. It's an offer, he says, is in the best interest of the fiscus and the public service workers. Don't you think perhaps you may be accused of being unreasonable in your demand, especially looking at the country's current economic climate?
In fact, it's the government that's being unreasonable. Remember that public servants have not been receiving salary increases over the past 3 years. But as well, we have always, as a principle, said that we will not accept anything that is below the inflation rate, which is currently standing at 7.5%. But beyond that as well, government has as well reneged from some of the signed agreements. For example, Agreement 1 of 2018. So workers are still owed from back then, and of course with the current living conditions which are becoming harder for most of the public servants, we feel that the government needs to do better. By the way, what Minister Godongwana pronounced was a mid-term budget. So we are hoping that through this process we can get to a common understanding, so that in the next budget speech, which we will probably give in February, there is allocation for public servants.
With the minister's offer, a lot of the unions have accused him of undermining the collective bargaining process, and he's assured the public sector that the increase is not in any form undermining the process. What's your response to that?
Look, they've always been undermining the public service. I think there's a clear plan to actually casualize the public service in the long run. And this is something that we cannot accept, because it sets a precedent. We have, for example, Minister Kulasnesi made pronouncements even before this process took place, just last week, saying that, it's take it or leave it for workers. But you see, if we allow such tendencies to continue, we're going to have a problem where the public service is being casualized. So we are not going to allow any precedents to be set in the wrong manner, which overlooks processes. It started with the Agreement 1 of 2018, where the government did not implement the last leg of the agreement, and it seems as if now they feel they've got the courage to continue as they like, and this is something that as Labour will not accept.
Would you opt for signing another multi-term agreement? I mean, you spoke about how you signed in 2018 a 3-year agreement, which government reneged on in 2020.
Those are considerations we could make if the offer, of course, has got some benefits for members. We feel that the current offer does not offer any incentives. The gratuity, they keep repeating this thing about the gratuity of 1,000, which is non-pensionable, and of course, pay progression, which does not apply to all employees. They speak of it as if it applies to everyone, and the gratuity as well is non-pensionable. So we think in the short term, of course, some people will be happy about it, but in the long run, it doesn't actually add any value. So we will definitely look into what are the nitty-gritties, looking into how we actually sign agreements, whether it's in the over a 3-year term or a 1-year term. But we feel that clearly, as we have experienced in the last, with the last leg of agreement world of 2018, that government cannot be reliable. I mean, part of what they relied on now when they want to impose this 3% is a legislation within the Public Service Act which says that if there's no agreement that is concluded, then government can continue with the implementation of whatever they feel is on the table, whatever they feel they need to offer, which is something that is actually, it goes against the very same processes that we're currently dealing with today.
As you try and ventilate your frustrations over wage demands, are you at all concerned about the impact of the strike, especially looking at how the economy is faring?
Look, a lot of money has been lost to crime. I mean, corruption, a lot of corruption. There has not yet been accountability. Public service members, ministers they gave themselves a 3% increase, and they even backdated it to 2021. While the polls were closed, while they were not doing much as compared to, frontline workers who happen to be police officers, nurses. So you see, we cannot be scapegoating government problems of dealing with corruption. And again, I think, look, we're a mandate-driven organization. We get our mandate from members, and members are really getting frustrated. Their living conditions have worsened. And sooner or later, it's going to get to a time where the fact that we are considered as essential services will count for nothing. Because members from the ground really want to go out into the streets. They feel that it can no longer continue that we have a government which agrees to certain demands and fails to implement them. And looking at time frames, I mean, and the conversations that you're having with the government around this wage deal, how much time do you think you will be, looking at as the talks continue and the negotiations perhaps reach a breakthrough? We are hoping that this current process, which is happening today and tomorrow, the conciliation process, will give us an indication. If things cannot be resolved here, and then it means that we need to rethink our strategy, we need to revisit our strategies and look at what happens next. But this is the only time that we have now, today and tomorrow, in this conciliation process. If things do not go well, we will, of course, have to strategize. But the good thing about this is that all unions within the public sector, within COSATU, within SAPU, within FEDUSA, are all here. So we've got a common understanding about our common challenges, and the unity of workers is quite important at this time. Very well. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Popcru's Richard Mamabolo speaking about the strike that is happening.